It's just a gift, he said as my phone pinged with a $24,000 transfer for rent. I stared at the notification twice before I let myself breathe. I'm 26, a personal trainer in Miami. Early mornings at a small Bracelet studio. Rubber mats, neon class schedules, the smell of disinfectant, and someone's protein shake. Rent's $2,000 for a studio that squeaks when I walk on it. 2 months behind, and I'm trading sleep for extra clients. I met him when he signed up for a package. Alex, mid-30s, tailored jacket, a colonia that cut through the humid air. Crypto investor, he said like a title. First session, standard form cues. Second session, he asked where I wanted to be in a year. I told him the honest stuff. Pay rent, finish a cert, stop skipping meals. He said, I like people with ambition. It felt nice. It felt like appraisal. Then, the money arrived. Mid-squat, my phone buzzed. 2 messages. Check your account, and a bank alert. $24,000. Memo, rent, 12 months, for your peace. The lights above me hummed louder. The treadmill's noise blurred. He walked up and said, smiling, don't overthink it. You deserve stability. Microhook, the voice that buys your silence sounds calm. And I sent a screenshot to my landlord. He replied within minutes. Key copy ready anytime. Key copy. My fingers trembled a little. Why did a key copy sound like ownership? I told myself to be practical. Rent paid. Problem solved. I put the money in my account and tried to sleep. A week later, he handed me a small velvet box in the lobby. Inside, a plain gold bracelet, initials engraved under the curve. For you, he said. The metal was cool on my wrist. It looked expensive. I left it on. Microhook. You can wear money like jewelry, but it can weigh you down. Then came the messages at midnight. Can you shift tomorrow? Don't book anyone after me. Cancel, Jenna. I told him I couldn't cancel clients without notice. He sent a screenshot of the $24,000 memo. For your peace. The implication slid under my skin like a cold bar. This wasn't only help. It had strings. NNHE started performing the ownership. Once, during a busy morning, he leaned against the reception desk and said loud enough for the room, she's my trainer, she works for me. Laughter from a corner. My face heated. I told him it was inappropriate. Relax, it's a joke, he said. Toxic phrase number 1. Microhook. Jokes can be thin masks for threats. NNIF. I went for coffee with another trainer, he appeared. If I laughed, he texted. Don't forget who believes in you, he'd write, eyes always moving to the bracelet. I know what's best for your growth, he said once, like a verdict. Toxic phrase number 2. The gym, once neutral, became a place of small alarms. The ping of my phone, the clank of weights, the whisper of treadmills. And I tried to pretend I wasn't trapped. Until the $500 transfer labeled loyalty. I screenshotted it, hands trembling. The fluorescent lights felt harsher. The smell of coffee turned bitter. I stopped telling myself it was a favor. This was a leash. Microhook. One word can change a gift into a trap. And I told Maya, a colleague who'd seen him hover. We ducked into the back office. Old coffee. Printer noise. A harsh fluorescent glare. I showed her the screenshots. She didn't say comforting things. She said simply, that's a leash. The word was heavier than the money. And back on the floor, the bracelet hummed cold against my skin. He waved from the free weights. Block tomorrow after 9, he said. I'm bringing a friend. I told him I couldn't. He tilted his head. Then maybe I speak to management, he said. I'm a good customer. Microhook. Threats often sound like bargains. And I hit start on the interval timer. 30 seconds on, 10 off. Because control lived in basics. My mouth tasted metallic. The bracelet felt like evidence. The memo read, for your peace. I had to decide, treat the money like salvation, or start treating it like proof. I started making a timeline on my phone. Dates, screenshots, memos, texts, tiny files that suddenly felt like a rope. Photograph of the bracelet. Photo of the velvet box. Texts with times. I saved everything. Maya, and I took it to the manager. Small office, lemon cleaner smell, a bulletin board with class flyers. I handed over the screenshots. $24,000 for your piece. $500? Loyalty. Midnight messages about schedule changes. The manager read, tapped, said, "This isn't how we treat staff." They promised to file an incident report and to talk with Alex. The promise sounded thin, but it was a promise. Microhook. Promises paper over fear until they don't. And I looked up a legal clinic. 30-minute consult, sliding scale. The lawyer wrote in an email, "Keep everything. Don't reply. Do not confront him alone. Direct and practical, comfortingly bland." Mini hook. Rules steady a panicked mind. Alex's public behavior escalated. He started dropping lines when clients were around. "She's mine. You know she's on my support plan." He'd laugh too loud. He'd show up precisely where I was going to be. Once, in the semi-private training area, he stood in front of a group and said, "She works for me." People laughed. The room's sound seemed to flatten. A dumbbell hit the floor with an unnaturally loud thud. I said, "That's inappropriate." He shrugged. "It's a joke." Toxic phrase. Microhook. Public jokes are pressure with an audience. And then I photocopied the bank memos, printed the texts, and put them in a binder. I photographed the bracelet from every angle, locked the box in my locker, then took the photos. Paper feels real in a way a phone screenshot sometimes doesn't. Paper is tangible proof. I gave copies to HR. They told me they would escalate to corporate if needed. Their faces were polite and worried. NNHE tried to pull the landlord in. A message appeared on my phone from my landlord. A friend called. A potential benefactor. Says he handles the payments. My throat tightened. I called the landlord and said, "All communication goes through me." He hesitated, then agreed. I sent the call log to my lawyer. Microhook. Ownership tries to rewrite the chain of contact. On a random Sunday, I found a forum thread where a user bragged about helping people out. They named a trainer in Brickle by first name. Someone else replied, "Nice to help your favorites." I screenshotted it. It tied public persona to private action. The lawyer replied to the folder. This builds intent. Practical again. Mini hook. Internet brags become receipts. N1 busy Saturday. He slipped past the buzzer and entered while security was distracted. He walked over to my group and, loud enough for 20 people, said, "You should be grateful. I keep her afloat." Phones came out. People filmed. HR finally escorted him out. People whispered. Some stared. A few sent me messages later. "You don't deserve that." Others didn't say anything at all. Exposure had a prickle, both relieving and humiliating. After that, HR put a "Do Not Admit" sign by the desk and ran incident statements. The manager asked me to sit down with a corporate representative on Monday. I felt strange, like I had made the private finally public. Microhook going public changes the narrative. I blocked his number. I stopped answering midnight pings. I changed some clients, times, and handed out longer notices. Small acts felt enormous. Maya joked, half serious, "You're building a case like it's a puzzle." I realized she was right. This was a puzzle made of receipts, texts, and wrist metal. The club suspended his membership temporarily. That pause felt like a breath, not the exhale. The bracelet still sat photographed in my folder. The word loyalty glared from a memo in my banking app every time I scrolled back. Little neon reminders. NNHE tried to push back. A burner email arrived. "You wouldn't have what you have without me," with an attached PDF of the rent receipt. His name in the memo. The office air tasted like reheated takeout. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. His reply was sharp. "Keep it. Don't reply. This shows intent." Mini hook. People who try to control you lay tracks. You just have to find them. NNTHE manager installed discreet extra patrols. HR taped a printout of him behind the desk. "Do not admit." Still, he circled. Someone said they saw him in a black SUV near the building. The parking lot hinged into my paranoia. Each automatic door made my heart give a small jump. Microhook. Absence sounds like presence when you expect him. Now I made a habit of small boundaries. I turned notifications off at 10 p.m. I refused late requests. When he publicly tried to shame me, "Without me, you're nothing," he said once in a lobby. My hand went automatically to my phone to record. Toxic phrase. People filmed. HR logged statements. The lawyer called it good evidence. It felt cathartic and raw. One night, my landlord told me Alex had offered to sign a backdoor agreement to, quote, handle payments so the landlord could avoid headaches. I shot back an email. All lease communication is through me. I copied the lawyer. The inbox pinged again. Another burner email showing a daytime photo of my building with a timestamp. The message was thinly veiled intimidation. I put it in the folder. Mini hook. Intimidation is modernized into pixels. An NTHE lawyer suggested a restraining order. I read the words and felt a strange mix of fear and relief. You don't need to be brave for us, he wrote. Be consistent, keep documenting. That night I slept, for the first time in months, with my phone on silent, and in boot camp became the public set piece. He slipped in again, lifted his chin and walked to the center of the room. You should all thank me, he announced. Phones panned. Someone uploaded a clip within minutes. HR escorted him out, but clips traveled. The forum blew up. Golden boy with loyalty strings exposed. Microhook. Once you go viral, denial is harder. N and I filed for a temporary restraining order. In the clerk's office, with its cheap carpet and nervous fluorescent light, I handed over the binder. Memos, screenshots, witness statements. I placed the bracelet box on the counter. Exhibit A, the lawyer said. The clerk stamped the papers. It felt like armor, and word spread. Clients texted support. One renewed a year membership midweek. No way I'm training anywhere else. The bracelet remained in HR evidence, out of sight. It felt strange that something meant to be pretty had become a marker of danger and proof. Court day smelled like coffee and cheap polish. I sat with the binder in front of me. My hands gripped the edge of the table. The lawyer leaned over and whispered, "Tell the truth, one fact at a time." Microhook. Truth is boring until it isn't. An NA Lex walked in like he owned the room. Another tailored jacket, the same practiced smile. But his walk had a little less ease. He sat as if his phone was his anchor, eyes flicking to the gallery. The judge called us forward. I took a breath and began, and I walked through the timeline slow. The $24,000 memo, for your piece, the $500 loyalty, the midnight texts, the public jokes, the forum posts meaning he bragged about helping favorites. I held up the bracelet so the judge saw the engraving. This wasn't a gift, I said. It was leverage. Microhook. A single sentence can reframe a whole life. They tried to say he was generous. They tried to say I misread kindness. His attorney called the transfers support. Then we brought up the burner emails, the building photo, his line in the lobby. Without me, you're nothing. Toxic phrase, the courtroom murmured. His face tightened and under cross. His composure broke in small ways. He claimed he was joking. He said I was too sensitive. Toxic phrase. Again. The judge didn't laugh. She asked pointed questions about intent and contact. The evidence, so many little pieces, stacked into a pattern. People in the gallery shifted. My lawyer's expression was quiet, controlled. Mini-hook. Patterns win when stories are messy. NNTHE judge granted the order. No contact, no approaching within 500 feet of my home or workplace. The gavel felt final. It wasn't the end, but it had teeth. Relief came like a slow exhale rather than fireworks. And outside, the air felt clearer. Maya hugged me until my shoulders loosened. Clients tweeted and messaged. The forum that once cheered him turned on him. Loyalty had become a joke. His reputation cracked. Small-town gossip in the crypto world spread fast. Microhook. Reputation built on favors crumbles on receipts. Over the next weeks, the gym reset. People stopped whispering and started saying, "Good for you." HR closed the incident file and said they'd upgrade security protocols. I moved apartments a month later. Smaller, quieter, mine. I bought a second-hand couch and a plant that never seems to die. The sound of my own floorboard squeaks felt like permission. Microhook. Independence makes ordinary noises. Sing and I still check the screenshot sometimes. The words he used, "You wouldn't have what you have without me. Without me, you're nothing. It's just a joke." They still sting. But the sting is different now. It's not panic. It's memory. I tell this not because I love drama, but because it's a lesson wrapped in a velvet box. The gold bracelet is locked in HR evidence. The memos are printed and filed. My landlord emails me directly now. I sleep with fewer sudden jolts. There's a weird damage with these kind of favors. They're flattering at first. Free rent look like rescue. But when the rescue becomes a script for behavior, midnight texts, edits to who I can meet, suggestions about where I should be, the price shows up in small ways. Missed confidence, second guessing, a dull ache when someone else offers help. And I kept microhooks in my brain to stay focused. Photograph everything. Tell one trusted colleague. Make copies. Don't reply. Get a lawyer. Those small rules mattered. They turned chaos into a timeline that a judge could read. They turned humiliation into a room of witnesses. Microhook. Small rules beat panic. After the order, things settled but didn't snap cleanly. He posted a few angry rants online, which only made him look worse. His friends messaged clients asking for calm. People don't like being dragged into someone else's drama. But most of my clients stayed. Some left. Some returned later with apologies. Business normalized. Life returned to its clack of weights, the hiss of treadmills, the smell of lemon cleaner and coffee. And I moved into the small studio and bought a cheap rug. I started a weekend mobility class and filled it with people who preferred boundaries. I learned to say no without rehearsing it first. I practiced that muscle. No is simple, but it had to be practiced. NNTHE bracelet. I think about it still. It started as jewelry and ended as evidence. It's a reminder. What looks like help can be a hold, especially when it is tied to someone's idea of your gratitude. Don't confuse offers with ownership. NNSO. Here's the question I leave you with. If somebody offered to solve your biggest problem but it came with invisible strings, would you take the help or walk away?